I'm single, independent, don't need no man. That is the most, by far, the most asinine perspective any woman can have. I'm single, independent, don't need no man. Well, you know what? We need each other. We need each other.
That bother you so much? Why do you care?
Well, the reason why I care is because, oops, hold up one second. Because I've watched my mother's generation, my grandmother's generation. A lot of these women died alone. Like they literally had nobody for,
And with that, everyone passes away alone.
well,
I don't see
because
no.
no, I agree with you. Everyone passes away alone. However, the process in those last days, like your ideally they're supposed to be your glory days, days of where you've done your fair share of turmoil and work throughout your entire life. You're supposed to live the remaining years, in peace. But if you're not granted that or afforded that because you still have to continue to work and still bust your ass and stress at 65 years old, I mean that matters, don't it?
It really, you can't say that's gonna be for our generation because most women really don't need men. To be honest, like
Well,
we have,
70. I will
we're
have.
going into we're going into careers that our past generation didn't have the opportunity. Like me, I don't really have to work for like the path I'm going. I'm not going to work for anyone, and I'm very stable. I don't need anyone.
Well, you do understand that
So,
72% of black women in the workforce make less than $37,000 a year, right?
yeah, but I don't really believe in statistics because statistics change, and
Oh,
I don't think
see.
that's accurate.
Okay, well
Because
then
I believe in real life.
okay,
Because
so
most black
so
women,
so real life.
I don't, I don't do that Kevin Samuel stuff because
Wait.
like
But wait a second. Why are you attributing statistics and data to Kevin Samuels? That's just statistics and data. That's how our civilization
most
is.
most most black men that I come across are red pill, and I just stay away from them because they don't live in reality, and they
They
have
don't.
this weird hatred towards their own women. They're the only subgroup. Nobody else does that. I'm African, by the way,
Well,
so that's
um,
not my reality.
actually, there are a lot of men. Actually, I wouldn't just attribute the red pill mentality to black men. Black men really have the burgeoning of the red pill movement. Basically, catalyzed the black manosphere. Excuse me. So first it was the red pill movement, then the whole black manosphere emerged from that. So it wasn't really black men that started this. It was really white men and other ethnicities that started this, and the MGTOW movement and all these other things that happened, that emerged as a result.
Like the movement because these people have a weird obsession with critiquing black women, and half of these men that have all to say don't even like them. So it's like, why would you give me advice and you don't like me? That's actually a waste
But
of
that's a
time.
value judgment. Like, how do you make that assumption that just because they're giving you constructive criticism automatically
I
you
don't
assume that
want
they don't like
I
you?
don't want your constructive. I didn't ask for it and I don't need it. I'm not your preference. Go speak to the white women and the white Latinas. Do
But hold
not
up,
talk to me.
but
I
wait a
am
second. Can I ask you a question though? But when black men or any other man speaks on the issues that are affecting black women today, why do you take it personally?
I take it personally, not in all aspects, because, like I said, black men, a lot of black men, I can only speak for ones in America. A lot of them have internal self hate, so when they speak, I don't take them seriously, you know? And they have all this judgment towards their own subgroup, but they don't have the same standards for other races. Like, I've literally seen black American men put white women on a pedestal. She don't even have a college degree. She has nothing going for herself. But her proximity of being a white woman, they're like, oh, that's better. I've seen that in real life. So
Hmm.
me seeing things, I don't even take people seriously at all.
You said okay. So your criticism to the whole red pill and black manosphere movement is that you think that they are making a judgment against black women or something?
Yeah, Yeah, they're just making profit off of women that they're clearly not attracted to. A lot of black men, especially millennial and Generation Z, they're not even attracted to their own women. So why are you speaking about somebody that you don't? It's actually a waste of
Because
time.
well, 85% of black men marry black women. 85%. And I know you said you don't believe in statistics and all that stuff, but there, most people believe in stats and things like that. But
You can't say most people because there's 7 billion people on this planet. That's just your perspective.
I mean,
I don't
you
believe.
just cited a stat right there, though.
I didn't agree with you. I didn't agree
I
with
mean,
you.
you just cited a stat, though. You said there's 7 billion people. How would you know that if there wasn't statistical analysis?
Well, there's like around 7 billion people on this planet.
Right.
Count.
Where did you? That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's not.
that's not something that
Yeah,
you could.
but this,
But that's not observable to the naked eye. Like, you would have to have verifiable, independent evidence to verify
let's
that.
put that in. My thing is, a lot of black men, and you have to admit it, right? And I'm speaking for millennials and Generation Z. I'm not talking about the other generation. They do not like their own women. So my thing is, if you do not like a subgroup of women, stop talking about them. They're not your preferences. Leave them alone. It's like when Joe Budden was pandering on Twitter, talking about why are there's only Latinas in the club, because that's who you brag about. This is what you wanted. So what are you complaining for?
Well, so you got to understand, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but for the better half of, I want to say, since the early 60s, since really the inception of the whole feminist first wave movement, there has been, men have been, especially black men, have been vilified through The Color Purple, through the Birth of a Nation. Black men have worn this stigma for so long, and black women, not until the late 60s, really started to share that sentiment and agree with the global stage that the black man is worthless. And so even in the early 60s, when you see how the welfare benefits started to really start to permeate our community, and black men started to enter back into the workforce, while that was happening, simultaneously, the welfare recipient rates continued to rise as black men were going back to work. So black women were choosing mediocre benefits over black men.
I hear you. My thing is this: people are wasting time, and my thing is people just need to focus on themselves, whatever makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, from a black woman's perspective, I listen to none of that because it's garbage in my ears. My thing is, if you want to make a change, build a bank, build a hospital, build stuff for your community. Because you could talk all day, but if there's
But
not
there's no
anything
community,
changing,
though.
I agree. I don't believe there's a black community because nobody does stuff. Everybody just talks all day. They don't
Well,
do anything.
well, I mean, like I said, I'm only gonna keep referring to the stats because I do my research, and I mean, you can verify me or agree with me or just disregard what I'm saying. But like I said earlier, 72% of black women are in the workforce and they make less than $37,000 a year, and black men, on average, black men bring in about $41,000 to $42,000 a year. So, how, basically, how can a woman, if she has kids too at that, how can a black woman be able to provide for herself, let alone her children,
I
with
think
that?
okay, my argument on what you're saying, why do you care? You don't care about these women. Why do you care?
I mean,
They don't need your advice. You don't like them.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You're not you're not helping them financially. You don't care about them. You have children with them. You abandon them. Why do you care to give people advice that you
but
don't want? It
but
doesn't
listen,
make sense.
and I'm gonna respond to that. So you're using the Nader fallacy, and that is you taking a small percentage of the worst group members of black men and extrapolating upon all black men, and that's not fair because a small percentage, the 52% of black men are single and childless. 30% of black men are married. So that means only 20% women are 20% of black men, the Pookies and the Ray Rays, are responsible for the lion's share of the children. 80% of our children are being born out of wedlock. Only 20%. Black women don't even realize they're in a rotation with like a small percentage of black men, because they look over the lames, the guys that don't have swag. They look over those guys.
Bro, you ever heard a thing about colorism? Y'all don't like your own women. Everybody knows this already. And I'm not saying you, half of you guys don't want women, your own women. Everybody knows this. The most people who date interracially, right, are African American men. It's not black women, it's y'all. So you could talk, you need to have a conversation with your own group of men, not black American women.
But black men have been improving though. We haven't been complaining. We've been taking all of the vilification that's been coming our way.
Okay, so my thing is, if you're doing good, stop talking about black women. That's it. Leave them alone.
Well, the only reason why the whole reason why black women are being broached into the conversation is because like I said earlier, 85% of black men marry black women. We want to be married to our women. We would rather be married with our women. I'm married to a black woman right now.
Okay, but that's you. That's you on an individual basis. That's not the collective of your own community.
Well, like I said, 52% of black men are single and childless, and 30% of black men are married. So that means that given the opportunity to find a submissive black woman who doesn't have this feminist mindset, this ideology that's permeated their mindset, given that opportunity, when you find that woman, we will marry her when she proves herself to be wife worthy. But black women today don't feel like they need to prove themselves.
Okay, but they don't date black women. Date your preferences and leave them alone. That's it. Like me, I date outside my race. I don't care. I'm gonna just be honest. All this conversation that I see on the internet, it doesn't pertain to me.
Well, you know what? We need each other. Oops. Oh, 1 second. I'm sorry. You say it again. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying from perspective view, like I would call it the new generation of black women don't care about that. Like we have options. We date outside our race. We don't care that, if people want us or not, because we're appreciated.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Only black women are only you can only see it in the black community with our women. This rebellious mentality against reality. You don't see a bunch of Hispanics and Arabs and any other ethnicity standing in line waiting to marry black women. Only 1 in 4 black women would be married. 1 in 4.
Okay, but my thing is, why do you care? That's the point I'm trying to say. If you don't, I tell black men all the time, right? If you think black women are difficult to deal with, stop talking about them and date a Latina or a white woman and leave us alone. Leave us out your conversation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what's going on. But you have to understand that.
But I'm happy. I'm happy that they're not. I'm happy.
But listen. It matters. It matters to men like me, which is fit. I represent the majority. Like I said again, 50% of us are single and childless, and we're not out here Pookie and Ray Ray and having kids galore. Again, that's a small percentage of men that's out here busting women's backs open and having kids with them and leaving them. That's a small percentage of men that's doing that, black men in particular. But it matters because black women are our sisters, our mothers, our cousins. They are a part of us. That's why it matters. And if we can't tell y'all the truth, who can? Because y'all for damn sure won't hear from the white man, any other ethnicity. If your own men cannot tell you the truth, like if we can't say anything to you, you will not listen to us, and you damn for sure won't listen to each other. Who can tell black women the truth? Who?
Yeah, but black women want to be left alone. They don't want to hear garbage. We didn't ask for that. Just leave us alone and date your preference and keep our names at your mouth. That's it.
So when I tell a young black woman, who's out here living this thottish lifestyle and she wants to give herself away to every single dude.
That's her problem. That's her problem.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. We have an atomized society where everybody's hyper individualized, where we don't think that it's incumbent upon us to speak to our brother and our sister. That's not how when we did have a community, once upon a time when our community did exist and marriage rates were at 85%. This was in the 50s. We had shame in our in our community. We had shame. We called out shameful behavior. Now it's like it's forbidden to call out shameful behavior because.
But bro, you got to realize this is a new generation. We don't care about that. You understand? Like, we live in America. This is an individual capitalistic society. You can't tell grown people what to do. Like, even right now, like if you lecture and even right now, if you go down the street and you start lecturing, they're just going to leave you alone. We're adults. People are going to live how they want to live. You can't tell grown people what to do and how they should live their life.
Listen, I totally agree with you. That's why I think it's incumbent. I think it's incumbent upon both black men and women to crawl across the broken glass and come to the table together.
And some black women don't want to date black men. There are certain black women that are happy, that don't want to deal with black men or the black community because the black community is extremely toxic. No, I don't even date black men because it's toxic in that community.
I agree.
I don't want to be part of that.
I agree with you. But again, if you sit down and you talk to your sisters and ask them, if given an opportunity or a choice, would they rather be with a black man or would they rather be with someone else from the other ethnicity? Most black women, most ethnicities want to marry within their race. That's biological evolution.
Yeah, but you can't say most because
yes, that's most. Different. What do you mean most? If you look at every other ethnic group, they marry within their own race and culture. That's cross culturally.
Yeah.
So that's all.
I understand.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said I totally understand that, but at the end of the day, you have to realize people are going to live their own life. You could tell them what they want to do, but they're going to do what they want to do because it's their life.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally understand and I agree with you. But you have to understand when children are being brought into the mix, that's when both adults need to come to the table and speak. Like, I think it's a problem that majority of our women are having sex with pookies because they have swag, they're tall, they have this, but they have nothing going on for themselves. And they get pissed off because they believe this guy is somehow has potential, and then when he fucks them over, the next thing you know, they have this cynical attitude towards all black men, like black men ain't shit because they dealt with a fucking toxic predator.
Why does that bother you so much if you're not one of those black men?
I told you it matters to me because I have a black daughter, I have a black wife, I have two black daughters, I have a black mother, I love black people. I love them so much. I love them so much so that I would tell them the truth, just like I would tell my mom the truth, my daughters the truth. I would tell them, hey, value yourself. Do not give yourself to anyone. It's not all about this whole do what thy wilt mentality. Do what you want that makes you feel good, because what you feel and what you want may be dangerous. I mean, can we not say that now? You telling me that's forbidden to actually try to prevent the toxic outcome? What's wrong with that now? That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't even speak. Now it's like black men are.
You could tell your own family. You cannot tell strangers.
No, I mean
I get it. That
go ahead.
You tell your family. You could talk to your family, and you could tell your family. People who are outside your family, that's not your business.
Well, again, I mean, thankfully we live in a country where we all have the right of free speech, right? We all afforded that right. So black women, they can walk away from the advice, or some may listen. Some may want to listen, but I think ultimately there needs to be always room for improvement. I don't think black women need to just settle for what they think they know. You can always learn. You can always learn more about yourself. If you're just gonna stagnate yourself because you think you know more than what you know, then you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure. Straight up.
Okay, but if they fail, what does that have to do with you?
Again, has nothing to do with me. Me personally, I will wish them well. I won't sit here and try to bludgeon them to death with love or with the unvarnished truth. My thing is, you take it, you receive it. If you don't, you don't. It's not going to have any direct impact on my life, and I don't think
Exactly.
I don't think it has any direct impact on most black men's life. But I think that the conversation still need to be had because we don't want to go another 40 years of this destruction. I mean, what are you saying? We 13% of the we represent 14% of the population and responsible for 51% of the homicide. I mean, we're just not going to talk about that. We're just going to keep whistling past the grave like it's just not happening. We've done that already. We've already experimented that. We ran that experiment. How about we just shut our mouths, don't mention it, and we just blame the white man for the next 40 years? Let's just run that. Let's run that hypothesis for a second. Let's just put all of our issues on the white man in America, instead of internalizing and looking at ourselves. Let's do that for 40 years.
Yeah, that's not me. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't pertain to me.
But okay, well then you represent a very, very, very small minority because most black men, a lot of black men and black women, they like to castigate the blame on someone else. And the thing about it is they don't even realize that their problem is right there in the mirror. But you're advocating, along with a lot of other black women are advocating, don't say shit about it. My thing is, goddamn, how is that love just to watch? I would rather somebody break my ribs to prevent me from jumping off a cliff because I want to kill myself. I would rather you personally, a stranger, break my ribs, like tackle me before I jump off a cliff because I feel a certain way about myself. That's love. That's true love. Because we all deserve a life worth living. I mean, we just got to be honest with each other. We've already ran the experiment of just gaslighting shit and putting the blame at the foot of everything else. When can we have a real conversation? When? That's all I ask. Now, listen, and I don't think you're combative, and I respect your perspective. I mean, I hear it often, but I respect your perspective. But you have to understand, as your black brother here, you know what I'm saying? We want to be with our women, we really do. We just need y'all to get to a place where y'all don't have to take on this burden. Y'all don't have to go sleep with the Pookies or the Ray Rays. Y'all don't have to be overexerting yourselves in the workforce. We want y'all to rest in y'all feminine. That's what we want. Ultimately. I told my wife that the other day. I said, I reject the myth of the strong black women. You deserve to be vulnerable. She deserves to be vulnerable. Heck? I belong to God. Y'all belong to us.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's true.
Nah, I don't like that submissive stuff. That's not for me.
Well, now therein lies the problem, because there cannot be two presidents in the home.
Yeah, but that's why I'd rather stay by myself, because I'm not going to bend for anybody. Well, darling, I don't do submissive.
Well, I hate to tell you this, and you can refute it, you can disregard it or not believe it, whatever you want to do with it. But this is very important information I'm about to tell you. The biggest predictor of a female happiness lies within family. It's not a career or job.
That's not true, because that's not true. Like me, I would never want to have children.
Okay, but then you're the minority. You are the minority, but the majority of women want family. And the highest demographic of unhappy women are women who are between the ages of 40 to 50 years old, making at least $50,000 to $100,000 a year. These women are economically successful, but yet they are the unhappiest because they want family, but they're past their prime. They sacrifice their prime years to pursue a career, and now they're later on in life, they regret it because they're not the hottest thing on the block anymore.
But that's gonna happen to everybody.
Yeah, but a woman must preserve her value. Men, we are not born with value. You women are born with inherent value. There are privileges that are afforded to women that I don't even think you even recognize. Women can sell fucking feet pics and get money. Women can go into clubs for free. Women can be around celebs, athletes, and all. You guys can be in certain environments that it would take years for a man to develop the stature to be around. Women are afforded so many luxuries in our society today. So many. I mean, look at it. I mean, look at the institutions today. The college admission rates are low for men now. Men are not enrolling in college anymore because it's predominantly female led.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like all that family stuff, that's not everybody's story. Because me, right? I'd rather stay on my career and my finances and focus on that. Because at the end of the day,
That's a that's a
I need money.
that's a
I'd rather pick
Faustian bargain,
career
darling.
over men. I don't care about that. That's just not me.
I get it, but you have to understand that's every black woman's Faustian bargain today. That you guys are trading something of supreme you're trading something of supreme morality for material, and that's not. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but money and things like that don't make you happy. It doesn't. I'm trying to keep it real with you.
But we not bums. You can't. No.
You're not bums, but $37,000 a year is not. That's not going to suffice, darling. For a lot of women, I'm not talking about you. We're not talking about you, but the majority of black women that's only pulling in $37,000 a year.
I don't. Maybe that's the older. That's not Generation Z and millennials. That's not our generation, because there's a lot of black women that are enrolling in universities and they're lawyers and doctors. That's many graduations.
No, that's not true.
And it's majority black women.
Yeah, I know, but do you understand what the character? You understand what sort of traits a woman has to acquire to go into these competitive career paths? They have to acquire these masculine traits, and they immediately price themselves out of the dating market, because a man is not going to be with a fucking headache. And most women that are in these career paths where they have to become basically men, a man is not going. Men, we have wants and preferences too. Just like women have preferences, y'all have preferences. Y'all want a tall dude. Y'all want a dude that can be financially stable. Y'all have preferences. Our preferences is none of that shit. We don't give a fuck about a career. Only thing we want is a submissive woman. If we can get that, and y'all can.
I tell black men all the time, if you feel like black women are not it, go date your preferences and leave them alone. That's it.
But that's what I'm saying. I've never said throughout this entire call that
I'm not
black
saying
men.
You.
Well,
I'm not saying you.
Well, most black men. I listen to the black men on Spirit. They're not advocating. Well, now recently they have been, but they're not saying that they don't want to be with black women. We want to be with black women, but black women do not want to cooperate with us.
So leave them alone. Go date your preferences.
Nobody's stopping you. But listen, they have.
Okay, so stop talking about us.
Okay, but
date your preferences.
But listen,
keep our name out your conversation.
But listen,
because we're not chasing you. We're in college.
But listen, but for fellas like me who actually care, and I promise I represent the majority, because the type of men that you're describing right now, it sound like they are toxic and they don't need to be affiliated with a black woman. But men like me who's actually trying to have a dialogue and just try to bridge some understanding with our women, what we're trying to understand is, why is it that you all expect us to be the traditional men and fulfill our roles, but yet when we ask for simple things, just cooperation, we can't even get that? But we are expected to stay in our role. We have to be providers, protectors. If a motherfucking robber breaks in your house at night, who you want to get up and take that bullet? It's gonna be me. I gotta take the bullet. I'm not. I can't wake you up. Hey, baby, go. Somebody at the door. I gotta go down there as the man and take that bullet and be willing to die for my family. I gotta do that because I'm the man. So that's what I'm saying. And we take, and we don't even. It's not even a thought for men. It's just we know inherently that's what our role is, and we are required to maintain those roles. But yet, women they got the on and off switch where they don't have to even. They don't have to stay in their roles. They don't have to. Their roles are negotiable. Don't you think that's kind of like? It's, and again, I think it's just so important that we just had a conversation because, you know, I don't like seeing the state of our women today. I just don't like it. I see, in spite of this whole masculine assertiveness that a women like to masquerade around as if they're happy and all this. No, because on social media they put little subtle hints. I promise you, it's all on social media. Even the most happiest, rich, successful women drop subtle hints that they're unhappy. They drop subtle hints through memes, through pictures, through little quotes. These women drop subtle hints like, okay, like I'm all alone here. It's just me. And I don't think pressure was meant. Yeah, it is, because pressure is meant for fucking shoulders, not meant for hips.
No, I don't think there's nothing wrong with being in solitude and taking care of yourself. It's a lot more peaceful than to deal with people.
Well, I mean, I don't know what type of people that you know, I don't know what type of people that you might have encountered, but you know, life is about people.
Everybody is not like that. People don't mind being a cat lady. If I don't have to deal with men or deal with anybody and I just go on my vacation and have peace, that's wonderful. I'd rather pick that over anything.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, that's no issue with that. But the thing about it is the difference between men who decide to live a life of solitude versus a woman. We don't have to rely upon the government. We'll go fucking live on the streets and eat ramen noodles. Women, they'll garner welfare benefits and things of that nature, which the more majority of the tax base is men. So y'all, as proud as women want to be about, okay, fuck man, I don't need them, I can do me. Okay, when you got 5 kids from a pookie and he ain't paying no child support, but you enlisting yourself into welfare benefits, who do you think are paying the majority of those taxes to pay for those benefits? Men. We are. At the end of the day, y'all still need our money. So it's like I said, it's
not everybody.
It's not everybody, but it's a majority, darling. I'm trying to tell you, I don't see. Well, again, this is where we kind of differ because you don't believe in the stats and things like that. But no,
I just go by what I see, and
that's subjective.
Black women I see are together.
Well, that's subjective. You can't just go by what you see, darling. You can't just go by what you see. You know what I'm saying? You got to go by verifiable evidence, things that someone outside of you can independently verify for themselves and be like, okay.
My thing, I tell these YouTubers, I don't tell them personally because I don't care. My thing is, if you see black women are the problem and they're not submissive, stop talking about them. Marry your Latinas, your white Latinas, your white women, and leave us out the conversation. Leave us alone. We don't want.
I don't think that's love.
Our names in our mouth.
I just don't think that's love. I don't think that's love.